Hi everyone, I'd just like to come on and talk about a wonderful movie that I watched called I'm Thinking of Ending Things. And this movie was just, at the start, it was just very, very confusing. Okay, so it was like there was all these little intricate pieces of a puzzle, sort of all laid out of a story. So I have to be honest, by the end of this movie, I was confused. Seen the ending, confused, completely confused. So I went, right, okay. There was some strange moments, some beautiful, reciting of like poetry, and it was about a relationship. It was about a guy bringing his new girlfriend to visit his parents, but in her mind, she's thinking, I'm thinking of ending things. So I watched the movie and there's all sorts going on. I'm like, is it about different dimensions? His parents are getting older and younger in some scenes, and there's a lot of chopping scenes back and forth and romantic bits woven in and all these different things. So I was just very confused, but it was very, very interesting. So I watched I'm Thinking of Ending Things Explained, the ending explained. And it was like eureka moment. It made perfect sense, and it was very, very, very poignant and very, very moving watching that, when it was like the secret key to put this together, where I went, right, okay, it makes perfect sense, and such amazing life advice. What I mean by that, basically the premise of the story was there's this guy, and he's a nice guy, and he's quite romantic, and he's a bit shy and all of this, and it keeps cutting between him and this girlfriend going to meet the parents, and different conversations that are had, and it cuts to an old man as a janitor. And I didn't get that bit. Why is it cutting between completely, like, it's like two different movies? Why is it going to them and their discussions and then also to this old janitor? So it turns out that this guy, this old man, the janitor, this whole movie was all, and it was like a complete figment of his imagination. The whole movie was the life that he would have actually wanted, but didn't happen. And what I mean by that is they were sitting around having dinner, and they were discussing how they had met, him and the new girlfriend and the mum and dad, and they're all having a talk. And he was saying, she was a waitress, and I was, they were at a pub night, whatever, and they were all having a chat, and he plucked up the courage to speak to her. Now, this whole figment of his imagination was, this is the life that he wanted, where he did have enough courage to speak to the girl, and she was showing some paintings and pictures, and reciting some wonderful poetry and all this. But it turns out that it was actually him. It was him who was the amazing painter who did nothing with it. It was him that was a wonderful poet but did nothing with it. It was him that just wanted, it's as if he needed a bit more self-confidence, a bit more belief. And he was so shy and insular and awkward and all of these things. And it just really hit home with me, the very fact of, and here was another kicker, as they were showing the parents in the movie, oh, look at these wonderful paintings, and look at this and look at that. As that was going on, the parents were criticising, oh, but how can this be a sad picture because it's only a picture of like a field? That doesn't make sense to me, right? And also stuff that the mother had said. There was a scene where he was feeding the mother and she had Alzheimer's. And she was saying, oh, you really tried hard in your life, but you didn't have any talent. You were really good at trying things, but you didn't have any natural talent. You're so ordinary, and you're this and you're that. And he was having to listen to this as he was caretaking her. And it was the whole thing of, he was spending his life caretaking the parents, and also that in reality, he was a caretaker. And the majority of the film was the fantasy of the life that he would have had. And at the end, he commits suicide. He is an old man. Then he gets into his car and it's like a blizzard, and he takes off his clothes. So it's obviously, if you've no clothes, you're going to freeze to death, and that's what he did. But in his mind, he was released, and the whole point of it was this man had amazing potential. He was a wonderful, he was an artist, he was a poet, and he was very, very romantic. You know, it showed you scenes, it cut the scenes where, you know, couples are together and they're really, you know, there's dancing and they're so happy together, and he had this really romantic personality type. And all of his potential never grew to fruition because he didn't have any self-belief. He didn't have any confidence. He couldn't speak to people. And this was all down to, it gives you clues in the movie, it's all down to the way his parents raised him. You know, like the father would ignore him, wouldn't look at him, and the mother would make these comments and put him down in a roundabout kind of way. And really what I took from that movie is we need to be so careful about how we're raising our children, about how we're shaping their minds, about how we're shaping their confidence and self-esteem and self-worth. It's kind of like the epitome of this movie was that this man who had so much potential, but no belief, that he got to the end of his life sad, lonely, you know, a caretaker, a janitor, whatever, and that he took his own life because he just had a sad life, and he was sad and he was lonely, and he had all this untapped potential that he never had the confidence to push forward to, and that if he did, he would have had such a different life. If he had had that bit of confidence to ask that girl on that date, he had all the potential to be such a loving, romantic, connected partner, and he had nothing. He had none of it. He had a meager life, lonely, depressed, sad, and ended up taking away his own life. That's what that movie was about. And I didn't get the whole movie. I was like, this is confusing me. What's going on? I have to find out what it's about. And the ending, sort of explained it all. And it was really touching. It was really moving. And what I took from that was, let's empower our children. Let's empower these young ones who are on their imprinting stage from the ages of 0-7 to have confidence, self-esteem. The way we speak at them, please give your children attention. You know, look at them, listen, interact, and that will build them on a course to have an empowered, fulfilling, connected life. So that it was just like, you can't think of anything worse than getting to the end of your life and thinking, I didn't do what I wanted to do. I didn't be how I wanted to be. I didn't act on things that would have benefited me. I didn't fulfill my purpose in life. There's actually nothing worse than that thought. And for our children, so if we can start there, so take risk, do more, connect with people, push yourself out of your comfort zone. It can be done. And where that can leave you is a whole different trajectory for a better life, and especially for our young ones. Thank you all for listening. Bye.